All right, the Pistons had their first summer league game, and we are happy to bring on our special guest, friend of the show, Steve Mickness, to help us kind of break it down, see what we're doing see what we're not doing well, because Steve has been around the NBA, is in the NBA, been around coaching, so he previously worked for the Indiana Pacers organization, a part of their summer league, G League, and then recently worked with the Glasgow Rocks, helped coach them overseas in the professional basketball league. So he knows basketball. So Craig, let's hit him with some questions on that first summer league game, what we saw, some things that we maybe need to improve on.
Yeah, and I will start by saying that's a much better resume than us,
Exactly.
Steve, for sure, because our resume is we've done this show for the last 8 to 10 months. So, anyways, here's what here's what I will say. I always like hearing what people are saying on the show, and I think one of the biggest concerns right now for Pistons fans is how in the world with this roster are we going to space the floor? We've seen struggles in shooting in Detroit before. I think back to when we were running out lineups with Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond in the front court, and just like, what is going on? You start fasting games, and then as defenses realize they don't have to respect your shooting, things go bad. So I guess my question for you is kind of a two-parter. Do we have the pieces in place right now to create enough spacing? And if so, how? How do we do that? Does that make sense?
Sure. No.
All right.
Thanks for having me. Big fan of the show. Appreciate it. Always enjoy the content. Being a Detroit guy myself, so all good things. But
awesome.
To answer your two-parter there, first off, yes, 100%.
We do
100%. I think seeing the pieces from last year, with the guys that we have in place there and growing into this culture. I would say yes, you're in pretty good shape.
I'm excited. I didn't expect that answer, and now I'm excited, so I want to hear more.
Yeah. So now, how do we do that, right? Or how
exactly.
Does that get and taking one summer league game out of it, I think I think the biggest thing for the team moving forward for the Pistons organization is going to easily be, I mentioned this in talking, is how do they establish kind of more of a team chemistry, really, like what's going to be their style of play. Are they going to get those type of threes in the half court offense? Are they going to be a run and gun type of team? Is it going to be a half and or a mix? But I think, you got guys coming back and, with the way Sadiq can shoot it with, Ivy, we know Ivy's going to be able to shoot the ball. Is Cunningham going to be a specific scorer off the dribble? Is he going to be the guy that catches the extra passes? Does he score more in transition? So I would put that on Coach Casey and then the staff there, because I think that, while we did see in the summer league when they play fast, it's just kind of like, a bunch of farm animals running around in the pen, and the ball's just going everywhere, just because it's just kind of organized chaos at that point. But when you have the athleticism and you have the shooting, it's just kind of, and you go back to, like you said, the Drummond and Monroe days. Like, you talk about the ball sticking in certain places is, do you add a lob threat with Duran in there and get extra time, and the way Stewart shot, I know he's been working on his shot in the off season, so I think you'll definitely see a pretty quality trend of 3-pointers going up. The beauty of it is are they open ones versus, difficult closeouts?
Sure.
So, yes, I think that hopefully that answers your two-parter there.
Yeah. So my follow-up on that, you hit something that I'm curious about. Is Cade stronger, do you think, Steve, in a half-court offense, or can he lead a run and gun up-tempo offense? Does that fit him, or is it kind of a little bit of both? Like, where is he best suited, do you think?
I think
say everywhere. Do it.
I can't. His style of play, it's just different though. It's like you don't see him catching the ball on the sideline out ahead of the ball much.
Right.
When he does, when he's got a one-on-one guy at the rim, like he's, his quality of finish in transition is great. But he's even better in the half court getting those type of shots. That's the type of player he is. That's the type of type of NBA player that he is. You can see that. You can, do you want to compare it to people or not? So I mean, is he better than one and the other? Yes. Is there one that he should focus on more? No. I mean, because I think the good thing is every year is a new team, so you discover like how are we going to be best? Is it going to be that push? And it's going to be certain games and certain nights. The beauty of it is their team's going to have to figure out, if we're playing the Warriors, are we going to get in a running match with them? Or if we're playing the Hornets or the Hawks, are we going to can we slow it down and get the baskets that we need against rim protectors? So that's going to be the thing. And it's if you just kind of live by the three, die by the three, then you're going to go with that. But I don't think that's the type of makeup of that team.
Right. And I think to follow up on that, like you're talking, Cade Cunningham is probably better suited his game in the half court, but Cade and Ivey, his running mate in the backcourt, I think we would pretty confidently say is better suited to run and gun, right? So I mean, you have guys, no matter what you're doing, you have guys that are that can fit in those positions, that can do well. And I don't think either one of them is terrible on the other side of it, right? I mean, Ivey didn't come from a run and gun offense in Purdue, that's for sure, and he found success there. So I think that's good. I do want to go back though. So you said 100% yes, we have the shooters. And so I just want to go back and talk about this for a second. So obviously, you have Bay, you have Livers, you have Burks now that can shoot the ball a little bit. You're hoping Ivy can. I think Cade is considerably better than his rookie year. I think he trends somewhere in between what he did in college and his rookie year. So 35, 36% would be where I'd settle with him. And then my big question is, can Stewart shoot? And if he can, yes, we have the spacing, right? I mean, like I kind of get what you're saying after you're confident in that, for sure. So I like that. I'm encouraged by that. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question. I think a lot of people are intrigued by the Pistons and what they're doing and the young stuff. And you talked in a previous video on how it's difficult to learn how to win. So a lot of people are saying best young core in the NBA, but also bottom 5 team in the NBA this year. Can you kind of maybe explain why that's the consensus on the national side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I haven't noticed that those are the specifics that they're
That's what they
kind of
say,
being
and it
funneled
bugs
into.
me. I get it, but
Yeah, no, I mean, well, they've had struggles, and it's just kind of how it goes. But
yeah,
no, I think it's just the youth, honestly. Like
yeah,
or you take a team that's that young, and you don't have a centerpiece that has that type of playoff experience, those
yeah,
wins. So like, ultimately when you're thinking of April, May, and June, those teams that are there are the ones that you see on national TV. So like, the consensus is always going to be that, right?
sure,
Um,
sure,
but I think it's just and I mentioned, it's an identity and a chemistry thing, 100%. And the beauty of it is you got to be a little bit lucky and stay healthy throughout the year.
for sure.
And as I mentioned, it's really find a way to win games. And I don't know for a fact, but I almost would guarantee just the way that the game plays out. Last season, I would be willing to bet that some upwards to 15 to 20 losses were 5 to 6 points, just in general. But that's
Yeah,
because, playing against teams that know how to close out those games, and you got guys that are a year older now. So those games that, with 3 minutes to go and we're up 1 or down 4, it's going to be a different type of animal this year, hopefully.
yeah. So that might be what we're hearing nationally. That's not necessarily what you're thinking. You're thinking there's a possibility to be a little better. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, for sure. No, for
Yeah,
sure. I think it's tough. You always go, what's the East going to look like this year? And,
yeah,
you kind of play that game of, okay, like, here's my top 4. Here's my 5 through 8. Like, do we fit into
yeah,
that play in? I think it's going to be heavy on Cunningham. I think if he can take that next step this year, and have some big games, and obviously play a full season and just be there and let Ivy do his thing. And I think it's going to come down to is Hayes going to be on the floor? Is he going to be dependable?
yeah.
Those type of things. Your big guys are always going to play hard, and what you get out of them is great. So, yeah, I mean, I think as a whole, I mean, you got to be excited about it, which I know you guys are, and I know that everyone is. Because the good thing too is, from what I've seen from the staff, the organization, just right what Troy Weaver's done in draft and so on, like everything is going on this. So the best thing you can do is put yourself in position to win. Whether you do it or not, okay. But
That's
at
right.
least I've seen some teams that are right at this level that aren't on that trend.
Right.
For sure.
It felt so good to see, and I know he wouldn't be on the bench for summer league, but just to see like the energy and seeing our teal coaches in the teal standing out versus like the Stan Van Gundy years, and you're just seeing, like that's what you talk about, that energy and that trajectory. That's
I love me some Stan.
Oh, this feels so much different and better. And then you got Stan, and you're just, what are we doing? And some of the players, just those fringe. You're not good, but you're not bad. Like, we've got some core looking to go up type of guys. So that's what's exciting. And so
higher ceiling guys.
Higher ceiling.
Yep.
There's stuff to look forward to. So one of those guys you kind of mentioned, it was Killian. We haven't really spent time on him. What are your thoughts on him? Do you like him? Have you given up on him? Where are you at with Killian Hayes?
No, I mean, I think he's 6'5", he's 200 pounds and
still 20.
Yeah, I mean, he's and I like his game. I think the big thing for him is like, again, you play around. He's played with so many different lineups. Like, what is he expected to do? Is he expected to score? Is he expected to shoot? And the biggest thing is he ready? If he's not ready to do one of those two, then like it's going to be a frustration point. But I think getting everyone in the lab and just finding his style of play, I think it's a huge year for him. Honestly, I wouldn't say it's a make or break, but I mean, if if you're gonna be technically in the driver's seat, for having the ball in your hands, like, we want to continue to produce.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm learning from you, Steve, is like, this is a whole new. I don't know. I kind of thought in my head, we had Cade, we've got some of these third year guys. We'll plug in Ivy, we'll plug in, and let's go. And it's like, nah, this is a whole new team. And in your experience in coaching, how long will it take for us to really know what our style is going to be? Is that going to be like, halfway through the year, we're going to probably figure this out, or can we figure that out before
4 years
starts?
Yeah. No, it's there's a huge learning curve to it. I know for sure. I think that you kind of have to spend the first half of the season, even not necessarily with the guys. Honestly, it's just more of them understanding their role and their minutes. Like, there's guys that that may come in, like Ivy may think, hey, he maybe even hasn't had those conversations where, I'm gonna start at the 2. I'm gonna start these games at the 1. I'm prepared. If it's a combo guard, like, I'm ready to go. But then, he may come 15 games in and realize he's playing 8.5 minutes. Like, he's coming off the bench and he's giving us a spark, and we're just kind of easy because has he had that conversation? I don't know, obviously, but so I think you definitely got it. There's going to be a curve where you feel it out, and that's up to the staff, and they'll do that and they communicate that with the guys. But the beauty of that is, what I love about where they're going is, they will definitely get him in that mindset of, hey, this is my role. This is what I need to do. This is the night. And I saw that last year. I think you could see that in the organization, like, outside of Sadiq's 51-point game. But I mean, those guys know what they need to produce that, later in the year. And
right.
And you saw some big wins, when Cunningham was out there and they closed out some games. So like, the great thing at the end of last season was you got excited about it. Now you're
adding these. See it. Mm-hmm.
So I think the beauty of both them, the players understanding, getting that comfort, is going to be huge for them for sure.
For sure. That'll take time. I even think about the teams when we started seeing big threes pop all over, the Boston Celtics in the 2000s, and then like all these other teams, and they come together like, hey, we're just learning each other still. And it's 50, 60 games into the season. If we have to wait that long for superstars to figure out how to play with each other, like, it's going to take a second for first, second, and third year players too.
Yeah. And what's fun about the blueprint of the Pistons is always kind of hung on the the Bad Boys originally, and then the second wave of the 04
going to work.
So it's what's fun about them is like our organization, or the Pistons organization, has really shown that, like, you don't need the big three, the big two, the big four. Like, if we can get, and that's when I talked about, like, I don't need Ivy to be an all-star. I need him to be a pillar of the 5 guys out there, and then the rotational 6, 7, 8 guys, because, give me those guys that are just, that above average quality player that can give it to you every night, instead of leaning on the main, I know James Harden's to score 50 points to win a game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's great. Or Steve, with Dwayne Casey, I kind of as an average fan, you look at him as the coach and you look at us losing year after year, right? And your natural thought is, well, this isn't working. But as someone that's coached, as a coach, do you like Casey? Is he the right guy for us? What are your thoughts on him?
Love him 100%. Great person. Both a true professional and also a player's coach. Obviously, he's been around the league a long time. Obviously one of the few to win Coach of the Year and be let go. The coaching, one thing I learned, which is very unique about the professional coaching. Anytime you accept, and this goes for the Sean McVays of football, anytime you take a head job in for professional sports, you have literally been hired to be fired at some point. So that's kind of the beauty of it. But for him and leading the charge, I mean, could I think of someone better? I don't know. I mean, no, yes, like
right.
But the thing about the coaching tree in the NBA is, the guys know their stuff. I mean, and there's so many variables, but the beauty of it is there's a million microscopes watching, and at the end of the day, that everyone looks at the end product, which is winning. Which is important for sure, but having that structure, I think it definitely comes, and we can dive into a coaching tree and talk on the Detroit Lions side for as long as you guys want. I know, but that's almost, I mean, it's almost a perfect example of, you look at some of the guys that we've had in the past, and you're like, really, was he that bad? So, you look back 5-10 years prior, and I know you talked about Van Gundy, and, you might even at some point say, obviously the guy knows his stuff. He's been to the finals, and
I like Van Gundy. I think he's a good coach.
So
not a great GM.
To shorten that down, yes. I mean, obviously, as good a position as you could possibly be with Casey at the helm, 100%.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm confident in Casey too, for sure.
Okay. Cool. Craig, do you have one more question for Steve?
I have no questions. I think we covered a lot of the good stuff. Steve, I'm just thankful that you came on the show, man, and appreciate the expertise and giving people who tune into this just a different perspective, which I think is really important, and it was super helpful. So thanks for taking the time out of being in wonderful Las Vegas, and you're sitting here talking to us. That's pretty great.
Love it, man. And as I mentioned, I've been a big fan, been watching you guys, and excited to see where this goes for you. You guys great quality stuff, always on point, from talking the good and the bad and the evil about everything in Detroit. And, I see nothing but the sky is the limit. So when it comes to you guys, I'm going down to the roulette table, and I'm putting everything on black. So
nice. Appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, make sure you subscribe. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on this, and we will see all of you on the next one.